Welcome on behalf of the Administrative Staff College to all the participants and all the speakers. A special welcome to all the speakers and participants who have come from Delhi and Bangalore. Friends, we live in India, and the natural consequence of that is that our time is stretchable. So many of the participants we have called up are in various stages of coming to this workshop. So I'm sure people will fill up the hall in another half an hour or so, but we cannot wait for them for so long. So we will start. All the key speakers are already here. So, to start the inaugural session, may I call upon stage Shri Jayesh Ranjan on the podium, sir, please. Mr. Jayesh Ranjan is an IS officer. He is presently the Secretary IT of the Government of Telangana, and we are very happy that he has kindly consented to inaugurate the workshop. May I call upon stage our Director General, Shri Ravikant, sir, please. Shri Ravikant is an 1985 batch IAS officer who has taken voluntary retirement and is presently the Director General of Administrative Staff College. Welcome, sir. May I call upon stage Dr. Praveen Arora. Dr. Arora is an advisor with the Department of Science and Technology and has been a key source of inspiration for the Aspire project, under the aegis of which this workshop is being conducted. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll not spend a lot of time, just a brief introduction of why we are doing this workshop, what we aim to achieve. The Government of India, the new Government of India, not so new now, about 18 months already, has started a slew of measures to kickstart industry and to focus on growth. Two of the key initiatives of the government has been Make in India and the focus on startups. But somehow we felt that science, technology and innovation should be center stage in both these initiatives, and hence a series of consultative workshops are being organized all across the country. We have already held 2 workshops and this is the 3rd workshop. The 4th workshop will be held in Delhi, in which various stakeholders are brought together and we try and understand what are the key gaps in the policy and implementation of the government, so that some policy briefs can come out which aids the government in shaping and firming up its policies a little better. We all know that the DIPP, that's the Department of Industrial Promotion, is coming out with a fresh new startup policy for the Government of India very soon, likely to come up in the middle of January perhaps. So this workshop is of very topical interest, because whatever we discuss and the key ideas and the key gaps we identify, we are going to make a policy brief out of it, and which will go from the Department of Science and Technology to DIPP. And probably some of the measures that we discussed today, I hope, will also get included in the policy document currently being framed by DIPP. So it's a serious discussion that we'll have all through the day, and I'm very happy, and again a warm welcome to all the speakers who have come all the way from Delhi and Bangalore. I now request our Director General to make his welcome address, and so if you're comfortable, you can speak. This is the sheet.
Good morning, friends. Very warm welcome to ASCII. Today is 9th. On 6th December, we actually celebrate our birthday, the Foundation Day. We started operations in 1956. In the erstwhile palace of Prince of Barar, which is in Raj Bhavan Road campus. This is our second campus, some 25 acres, that is 10 acres. The third property is in Qutub in Delhi. So we are very glad that coinciding with such momentous occasions and the policies which are in the drawing boards these days, this workshop will definitely give some very positive inputs, because Hyderabad in our country is one of the most potent place for the new ventures, and all that thought and all that action is definitely happening in a very big way in Telangana, especially in the technology-driven, IT-based, ICT-based ventures. We are very keen to hear from Mr. Jayesh Ranjan, who has been in the forefront of leading such things. And my request is, in case you have time, people who come from Delhi, Bangalore, do find time to physically see what is actually happening on the ground. We thank Department of Science, Technology and Institute of Science who collaborated with us for this workshop. We couldn't have asked for better partners. And let me share some thoughts on what is that which comes in between the budding entrepreneur who wants to be an entrepreneur and why he can't be an entrepreneur. Very different situation if you compare with US, where any brain, any killer idea converts into a business venture, 4 years, 5 years, he sells the company, becomes $1 million overnight. Here, ideas are galore, but there are certain issues which you all know, maybe I'll also add to the list, which actually militate against conversion of the idea into a techno-economic successful venture. Sustainability is the issue. Friends, I have seen government for 20 years, corporate for 9 years, ASCII for 1 year almost. And I heard a very good statement from one of my bosses. I am repeating it today after 12 years. I have not said this statement in the last 9 months, 10 months in ASCII, but today I am compelled to. He said, India is a soft country with hard laws. Very wonderful thing to have said. India is a soft country with hard laws, which means what? Hard laws, let us first come to that. Good that Government of India is weeding out all the acts and laws and rules which are not in keeping with times. Me and Jayesh have worked as collectors. Imagine the number of acts we have to administer, and very difficult to understand even the units of measurement which are mentioned in those acts. So why we keep this act? Because there are some mischievous people who will go to the court with that act provision, and we get unaware. Two, something which can be done now, and I request my friends from the government to concentrate on it. You see, friends, what happens? A typical IIM graduate, engineering graduate who is bubbling with ideas, but then you have to do anything within the ambit of law, rules, labor, compliances, this, that. Sorry to say, even in this age of information, many of the websites of the Government of India, no, I am not talking of state governments, and if I may name one, the Labour Department, Government of India, Mr. Agarwal, Labour Secretary, was here in ASCII. I told, sir, your website does not contain the latest PF Act. Anybody you employ after a particular limit, you need to talk of PF, minimum wages and stuff like that, ESI, this, that. But sorry to say, you check it out yourself. The Government of India Labour Ministry website does not contain the latest PF Act. Because I worked in the corporate, I was the group HR head, and it was so difficult to understand. And what happens? One PF inspector suddenly comes to office. Saab, mujhe khata check karna hai. What do you do? So this is very important, that when there are websites, that websites should contain all possible information. See, we in ASCII are not political people, and we have the freedom to say what we want to say, because we are not funded by anybody, we are our own administratively, financially. So this is one area which when you draft the proceedings, tell all the enabling departments, whenever an entrepreneur needs to face, the information should be there. Not only information, it should also carry very strong FAQs along with worked out examples, so that there is no confusion. Sometimes the statements are so confusing, you do not know how to translate them into arithmetical numbers when it comes to compliance and filing returns, etc. Okay. Having said this, Now now we live in the world of triple bottom line. You all know. Profit, then people, then planet. Till now, though it is not strictly applicable to startups, but then people who become some size, once you start generating profits, then people start saying, what are you doing for people? CSR, Companies Act amendment. So all those things should also be incorporated somewhere so that they get to know what we have to comply tomorrow. And finally, third is the planet. Actually, I belong to the planet side. I specialize in waste management, stuff like that. This is not the time to speak on planet. I have a lecture on planet after 2 hours. That's a different story. But that is also a very key thing. Thankfully, IT does not pollute. But what pollutes is electronic waste. Sir, I draw your kind attention. Thanks to KPOs and all these outsourcing, backsourcing, lot of IT waste is getting generated. And in this country, only 2, 3, maybe Bangalore, maybe Bombay, maybe Delhi, one in Roorkee. That's all, 4 facilities. And we don't have any in Telangana or AP worth the salt. Typically in electronic waste, it is the PGM, platinum group of metals, which are recovered from the waste, reprocessed at different business model. I don't go in details now. Okay. Now friends, what happens? When the laws are not implemented uniformly, suppose the government is very tough with me, but not tough with Bakchi, what happens? We get unfair, not a level playing field. So if the laws are applied uniformly, only then I can survive in the competitive world. To give you a very base example, typically you will find inspectors from labor department, excise department, they only land up in 5-star hotels and shopping malls for inspection of liquor bottles, inspection of khatas. But how many people eat there? Not even 0.1%. 90% of the people eat in roadside big restaurants. Nobody goes there. So all those things, because at public service, etc., the focus, the priority need to be kept in mind. Another thing is the pollution control board, though it does not really attract, but there are many ventures which have that potential of pollution. The pollution control board, unfortunately, I used to be member secretary of the pollution board in Bengal. I find that they are not actually exercising their monitoring and inspection uniformly. If they do so, then a few people do not get the competitive advantage. Like today is the world of recycling. Plastic recycling units. Why plastic recycling is not successful in India? Because everything is done in informal sector where laws are more flouted than complied. So none of the big players, MNCs, will ever enter recycling because they will have a competitive disadvantage. Because they will obey laws and their cost of recycling go up. And thanks to non-recyclable plastic in a correct way, we have so many diseases which are coming from cheap plastics which are being sold on the roadside. I have a few suggestions, friends, therefore. Of course, what suggestion? It is already implemented by them in Telangana T-Hub. But then that is based on ICT, IT-enabled, technology-enabled. So, but in the government, there are so many departments. There, I am only imagining there is a cell or a department where the budding entrepreneurs, the startups people, they can contact for a single window service. They just direct, okay, you want clarification on labor, meet him. Because at the end of the day, you want to meet a person. Even after having seen the website, you want to meet a person, be rest assured, what are the forms, what need to be done. A small cell declared publicly, this is the cell where you can go and get any of your doubts clarified on any of the laws or assistance, not only of the state government, but what is the enabling legal and other financial environment created by Government of India. This lack of information, friends, delays us, and time is money. And typically at that stage, money is a big factor because startup won't have money. They are looking for some venture or whatever. So this information gap can be bridged by having a cell which is actually declared. Okay. Incubation centers, of course, I won't talk much because you will hear the examples, not examples, the success stories right now. And one more thing which I suggest, which ASCII can help. Just to give you a recent example. Honorable Chandrababu Naidu government, CM AP, he wanted that our higher education is not actually good, the delivery. the pedagogy, the faculty profile, many things. So what was the suggestion? You need to meet. Trust me, we had 2 days workshop with all the vice chancellors of all the Andhra Pradesh universities in ASCI. We invited the best of the best people from the country, and after those 2 days, such beautiful recommendations came, which will definitely go and become a think tank for the people who matter in the government of India. Similarly, we offer to host. Of course, the government will be our partner. Let us say a workshop on all about labor laws. Let us say workshop all about on compliances for the startup people. We can define who are the eligible, and then we get best of the best people. And 2 days they deliberate, they understand, lot of question answer, because you need human beings, educated, experienced, who can answer all your doubts. So that we can host. And ASCI, we are not here to make money. It is definitely on cost-to-cost basis. So we offer to host such workshops for any area of the government which could be very useful. Okay. You have heard about Dr. V.K. Saraswat, right? Ex-DG of DRDO and the advisor to the government on all these matters, and currently the member of Niti Aayog. He was in ASCI as my guest on 2nd October, Mahatma Gandhi's Janamdin. And he's also coming to ASCI again on 15th of December as the speaker for our Foundation Day celebration. We are celebrating on 15th. He said such golden words. He was saying, I'll just quote some, that today all our technological, scientific research is not focused towards application which ultimately leads to prototyping and which ultimately leads to scaling up into a viable commercial production. So are we doing research for research sake? Many of my faculty colleagues will be angry at me that every research should not lead to production. I'm not saying that. But what is that percentage of research and good work done which actually leads to ventures which touch the economic and social life of our citizens? Very less in India. So, and Dr. Saraswat, I was speaking to him last night, sir, what is the topic of your Foundation Day lecture? He said that my topic would be innovation dash economic, sustainable economic growth. So, and I invite all of you to kindly come and join for this lecture on 15th December at 5:30 p.m. in our Raj Bhavan Bella Vista campus. Just contact my office for the card. It will be delivered to you. I'll give them instructions that there are my friends who have come, and you will be very delighted to hear him. He urged upon scientists to harness technology for nation building and benefit of the mankind. He emphasized on the culture of science for society. In innovation ladder, the scientists and the researchers should endeavor to make a prototype, then aim for commercial production with competitive edge. The new role should be a scientist cum development engineer. Unquote. Okay, if I need to conclude, friends, we are Indians, right? We are fertile people. Not in the population sense, what I mean business ideas, and we will find a jugaad, or we will find an alternative to anything what exists in the world at lesser cost and more durable. And I have coined a technology SST, not DST, SST. SST means Sasta, Sundar or Tikau. Which means what? Sasta means less cost, Sundar means looks good, Tikau means durable, sustainable. So these are the type of services and products this country needs. Of course, there are brands for 1% of the people, let them be there. Okay. And another thing which I believe, I used to be IT secretary once upon a time, Government of West Bengal. The basic mantra here is, again, think big, start small, scale fast. Okay. Because typically I can't put in a lot of resources, financial and others, and I fail this miserable state. I've seen many of my friends, young IIM graduates, 3-4 years, 5 years down the career, have nothing. All loans, father, this, that, not taken off. So think big, start small, scale fast. We have had, of course, in our country, huge successes, you all know. But just to make our faces bright, Flipkart, Big Basket, Snapdeal, OYO Rooms, many more. and we wait to hear from Mr. Jayesh Anjan what's been done here. Okay. And another point which I was reading in the newspapers today, see friends, the new ventures cannot afford a HR head. They can't afford a commercial head. They can't afford chartered accountants. They do need the services which we typically call in the HR parlance as shared services. So there are professionals, so let's have a culture where the shared services are also shared. You understand what I am saying? That I as an HR professional do not stick to one company or one venture. I provide my services across many ventures, like doctors hopping from hospital to hospital. Otherwise what happens? These startups, friends, ultimately it is not only technology and money. It is the enabling environment of purchase, of inventory, of HR, of all other things which they need support, and they fail because there are no advisors. They think HR, it's very simple. It is not that simple. To retain good people, etc., etc., compensation fixing, increments, there are so many issues. So a shared services environment is very, very necessary. And I also think that our chambers of commerce, CIIs and all these, they should